Hey guys, hope you're doing well and great. Alright, in this video I want to share with you about questions that I've got it, and it's a very important questions for all those virtual kitchen or cloud kitchen startup guys. So let's get into the question. So I have the question here. So what are the challenges you may have if you do not have any experience in food industry when starting a virtual kitchen or a cloud kitchen? It's a very great question. So here's one of the things that you gotta know is that people happens to know a lot, right? They know a lot of things, but the thing is that can they use that knowledge, correct? So most of the people do not know how to practically use those knowledge, even though they know a lot of things. So what happened is that they do not have the proper guidance, and for that reason, out of 100, 90 fail, and it's always a misery. So the only way to be successful in any business or anything that you do is to understand the process, the program, the protocols, and the parameters of everything, right? It end up with a lot of P, but I think that's the way it is. So okay, here's one of the things with this question. Let me repeat it one more time. What are the challenges you may have if you do not have any experience in food industry when starting cloud kitchen or virtual kitchen, right? So the first one is the manpower. So the manpower would be the staff, but most of the time in a small virtual kitchen, it's going to be the cook or one of the experienced chef, right? So here's what you need. If you do not have one proper reliable chef, then it's going to be a big problem unless you are the chef, right? So my preference or my suggestion is all the time, like, first of all, you may be passionate about food, right? But you also have to know basic things, or say have to have an experience in the food industry, at least 2 to 3 years to run a virtual kitchen. If not, then you need to have a mentor or who can instruct you, who can help you. If not, a lead chef or a sous chef who can help you out on handling all those requirements in the kitchen, right? And you take care of the management part. So first thing is the cook. So number one is, here I have just jolted down, right, based on my question. Based on this question, I just have come up with my idea and my experience, what I want to share with you guys, right? So the first one is you will have to hire a manpower. So the manpower is you need to have a very good strong team for your small business, even though you are starting up. So at least you need to have 2 people, unless you have a very good experience about your product and you know the tricks and the shortcuts to do the work, right? I've been in this industry for a decade, so I've seen like a newcomer to the guy who has been in this food industry for a 1 year or 2 year. The way they work, right? They need a lot of space. They're messy, and they just end up forgetting things what they do, right? So that's what happened. So that's the only reason so why you need a proper staffing. So number one is you will need to have very good manpower to make sure that you do not come across this challenge in starting your virtual kitchen or cloud kitchen, right? Number two is you will have to train the staff, all right? So that's very important thing. So even though you hire some chef probably or some cook, his or her way of cooking things would be different, because what if you have a different menu, right? So you need to train those guys based on what menu that you want to serve to your customer or your brand or your business carry, right? Excuse me. So that thing is going to be a little bit different. So you need to have a manpower. The second thing is that you need to train them. And the third thing is that you need to make sure those trained staff are stable, they are in the business with you, and they are committed to the business. They have the passion to stay with you, right? So here it comes that where the owner or the business owner has to take a responsibility of taking care of your staff very well. If you do not take care of them, it's a big loss for a business, right? So it's about like, if there is a stability in the manpower, basically, right? The business goes very well. The business stays very healthy. because the manpower, the people who are in the business are the real people who contribute for the growth of the business. And if the manpower are not efficient at all, or they are not productive, chances are, or your chances are that your business will go down. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. So the first point, what are the challenges, right? The challenges is, number one, having a good team. So manpower, right? What you need, a good cook. For a good cook, you need to train them, and after you train them, also you need to make sure that they are stable. You keep them happy, and you pay them well at the same time, and you give them some sort of compensations and perk if they really are into the business, and if you felt that they're gonna run along with you in the business, right? So number two is data analysis, right? So the other thing that you have to understand and have to keep in mind, that you got to understand your data very well. So when I try to set a new business or new product, new items in the business, I always have to come up with the data. Actually, the data give me a lot of information, because you will not be able to manually talk to people, spend a lot of money on marketing, spend a lot of money on advertisement and all those things. So it costs a lot, but the data that you have, or the data that you can get it from somewhere, which is mostly available, are in Google. If you have to do research, those things are, most of the things are available here for free, but then it's up to you what kind of a data you're looking for, right? So number two, in the data analysis, I jot down 4 points. So number one is menu pricing, right? You have to understand how to price your menu. You need to understand very well what the cost of your ingredients, and all those, the production cost, the labor cost, the utility, the rental, everything, right? So the first thing is menu pricing. The second one is the food cost, which comes up to the ingredients that is included in the food. And then also you have to understand the sales channel, right? How are you selling those product? For example, let's say if you have a lot of walk-in people, or if you have a lot of takeout, do you necessarily have to tie up with a third-party app and pay a lot of high commission for services that they have to they've been giving it to you? So you have to know your sales channel very well. So if you really do understand your sales channel, you can cut costs a lot of money, and take those back money into your account for your benefit, right? And number four is understand your products. And understand your product, what I meant to say is, like, you gotta know that what products sell the most, right? Let's say if you have 10 items, this content I already shared in the previous video, but you might want to just go through again. If not, then here it is. So let's say you have 5 items in your menu. Probably out of those 5 items, 3 would be very well, one or two product would be like no sale at all, right? At that point of time, you just want to take out these 2 product which are not selling, but add another 2 new items. In this virtual kitchen or in a restaurant business, unless it's a franchise business, because franchise business usually take time to launch a new product and test and try and all those things. If not, if you're a independent restaurant operator, or if you're a virtual kitchen or a cloud kitchen operator, what you need to do is that you gotta work on your product, your menu very well, to understand what are selling and what are not selling. So if, let's say, out of 5, the 20% to 30% of the product that are not selling, just take it out of the menu, refresh your menu, create a new one, and try to introduce those products to your new customers, right? That's the best way. So on number 2, data analysis. The first one is menu pricing. The second one is food cost. The third one is understanding your sales channel. And number 4 is to understand what product sells the most and cut out the one which are not selling, because it's very unnecessary to keep in your menu if it's not selling. If it's not rolling, why do you want to keep it, right? So number 3, all right. So do you want to operate as a chefless model, right? So The challenges would be, many people think about it, they know how to run food business because they have been in the business for a few months or a year. But to understand this, it takes a decade or at least half a decade to understand the business. Unless, if you're like, let's say in a hierarchy system, right? If you're in this chef as a business person, but if you're at a startup, you won't know much about it if you're in like a 30 to 40% bottom. But if you're above like the 70 to 100% on the top level of the company or the restaurant or the business that you work, you probably may have the idea. But most of the people who's going to start this business won't have idea because they are less than a 30% in the organizations, right? So which means they're kind of a lower level of the management, right? So here's the thing: you need to have one professional chef in your business if you're operating a restaurant or a virtual kitchen or a cloud kitchen, because if you do not have one chef, proper chef, then what happens is that people will not be able to work in a professional manner. So, for example, as I have mentioned, just in a previous point, what happened is that during a peak time, during a rush hour, many unprofessional chef or a cook end up cluttering things, very messy, and it delays, broken, spoil, a lot of wastage are there. But in a peak hour, in a busy hour, right, as a professional, we know how to take care of those requests, those orders, or talk to the customers, way to manage very professionally. We have been trained, not only we've been trained, it's just about, we've been there many times, and we learn every now and then, because not all customers are the same. So everybody has a different way of thinking, and also different way of approaching for things that they don't dislike it. So you got to know how to handle things very professional way in a high demand or very crowded places or in a peak hour business time. So you cannot operate a business with shelfless, but you need to have a professional chef who can help you out on conducting and processing your business and taking care of your business in a very professional manner, right? And so the other thing is that here's the thing: people try to have this mindset of like to operate a kitchen or a food business with shelfless basically. So when you have a shelfless business, basically what kind of a food that are you providing to your customer, right? So it'll be a frozen food or a cold food. It is ready to eat food, but then you just reheat up. So most of the customer, as a restaurant operator, they will not like it, because those frozen food, that reheat food stuff, those are supposed to be from the grocery frozen shelf, not in the restaurant where you have the proper kitchen to operate fresh food. So if you happen to have a frozen food and reheat and trying to serve the customer, people will know the taste of the food, how fresh they are. That's the reason, if you have that mindset of trying to start a business with this kind of a concept, it will go down, or probably you may not sell a lot, because people don't like processing food or frozen food, ready to eat food, but not cold and reheat one, right? So that's the reason why you will see, like when you go to a grocery store, you will see there's a particular shelf where you find dinners and breakfast and lunch and all those things. Those comes in a small packet, and those are frozen food, processed food, and they are frozen and they are sold separately as an autopilot in the grocery section, because they have a longer shelf life. Some of them last about like 3 months to 6 months, and some of them even last for a year. So those food, people will not like it. Those are for emergency situations, right? In case if you do not know how to cook, or if you instantly need some food, or if you're in a budget for those kind of a thing, people take those food. But if you are operating a full kitchen in your business, people would not expect you to sell those frozen food and would demand for it, right? So go with a chefless business what will happen is that it's not going to run for long. So that's a kind of an alert that you got to know in this business. Right, so let me just go to the next one, see what do we have. So as we have mentioned, does the shelfless model require a chef? No, it does not require a chef. So for that reason, you just say the shelfless model. So the examples are ready-made products that only requires to heat the food. It include cold food, frozen food, processing food, or preservative food. There are many businesses that works on those kind of a model, but at the end it depends on the understanding of your customer, if they want to buy food from you again, or they just want to just try and leave it for to leave you alone. But you want to stay for long in this business, so just try to be very helpful for the customer and serve them a good fresh food, and that's the best way you can have a good relation with the customer. So like I said in just a while ago, most customer will be able to understand their taste and know if the food is fresh made or it's reheat food, right? So nobody wants to to have which is a frozen food or reheat food unless it's an emergency situations or something like because of the limit of the budget or something like that. But then you don't want to do those kind of things. So, and this is why most of the ready to eat food, are sold in grocery, as we have already mentioned. And I think if you are in the process of creating a packaged food that you want to create a longer shelf life and want to sell in the grocery, go ahead. That's a good plan. But if you are willing to make a food and then want to serve it fresh to the customer, please do operate as a restaurant or virtual kitchen or a ghost kitchen, right? Or a cloud kitchen. So that's a very good advantage way. But do not try to take a shortcut on processing the food, because this food industry is very demanding, and if you do not meet the demand, your business is going to be in a big problem. So here's a few tips to success in this business. There's a lot, right? I'm just gonna share you 4. So number 1 is, first, have a passion for food. I have a passion for food. Since my high school, I cook food, and I cook for a lot of my friends. Sometimes it does not taste good, but then you learn, right? But I still have the passion for food. I always buy not only the Asian food, but I'm now learning how to, cook proper brisket. So that's why I want to go to Texas too. Right, a day will come that I will just go and learn how to cook a proper brisket from Texas. That's one of the things that I want to learn. I know about the sushi, I know about the ramen, I know about the Chinese fried rice, I know about the Indian food, right? And so there are many food that I know about it. And I used to work for Jimmy John's as well, so I know about their the subs, the sandwich, the wraps, and all those. So I know about all those things. I used to work for a pizza store too, so I know about like a pizza stores, pizza food, and so there's a lot of things that I have kind of knowledge about this food industry, and I know how to prepare different kind of food as well. So that's a good advantage for me because I have a passion for food, right? So that's the first thing, have a passion for food. The next one is be willing to serve your customer as your family member, right? Your customer is your family member. Give them the best taste, the healthiest food. They will love you, they'll come back, they will help you out, they'll be with you when you don't have anything, because they know who you are, what kind of a food that you carry, what is the love that you share with them, right? That's number 2. So number 3 is take good care of your people, your chef, your staff. Take care of them very well. Even if they want to take the holidays, they take it off, do something good things for them. Keep them as your child. Keep them as, motivate them, motivate them. Show a good leadership, because if you show a good leadership, they will learn from you and they will pass on within their colleagues, their staff, their family. So if you're a good leader, they will learn from you. Take care of them very well. You will run a very successful business if you do take care of your staff very well. All right, here's another last one, and get mentorship. If you do not have good experience in the food industry, have a mentor. So when I say mentor, I can mentor you, but I'm not saying that you have to ask me for a mentor. But if you want to, it's up to you. But what I meant here is by go through books that teach you about how to operate proper successful restaurant food business. The second thing is watch a lot of YouTubes. If you have time, there's a lot of free great contents from a great chef, great business operator. There are many things so that you can learn. But if you do not have a time for them, if you don't have a time for read, you can always contact me. I will do my best. If I do not have the answer for based on your city locations or the type of the food that you want to operate, I will definitely ask a few of my friends, and we will make sure that you have the right answer that you're looking for to make your business successful, your life more successful in the things that you do. All right, guys, with that, I hope you will like this contents for today. And if you do have questions, comments, feedback, please do feel free to share in the comment section, and do subscribe to the channel. Okay, see you in the next video.